Hello, my friend. This is Clyde. God, I'm desperate for you. Psalm 42, 1 and 2. As the deer pants longingly for the water brooks, so my soul pants longingly for you, O God. My soul, my life, my inner self thirsts for God, for the living God. When will I come and see the face of God? Recently, I saw a short video clip that is related to the text. It was a country setting, and there is a huge bowl sitting on top of a pedestal out in the yard. Each day, the owner would come and fill the bowl with clean water. Well, like clockwork, the deer or members of the deer family would come by shortly after to drink. On one occasion, there were 4 thirsty deers drinking from the bowl all at the same time. A very interesting and touching scene. The writer of this psalm is writing about a time or times in his life when he is like that deer who is desperate for water. That thirsty deer cannot hop and skip and run fast as he usually would because he is desperate for water. He's thirsty. Yet the deer is wise. It needs water, but it is careful in drinking water from a source that is safe. If it is running water, the deer would look around to see if there are predators, or in the case of the farmer, the deer would wait until the farmer is nowhere near the bowl. So what is going on with the writer of this text? He says that his soul is panting for God. Not literally like the thirsty deer, but the writer is talking about a time of desperation when his soul wants God real bad. It seems like a time of mourning because he talks about his tears being food for him day and night. When you reach that place in life where you are crying over an extended period of time, it is in those moments that the best of human efforts cannot alleviate the pain and the sorrow that you might be feeling. The writer says, in those moments, only God can satisfy. But how did you get here, Mr. Writer? He speaks of some moments of crisis. He talks about a time when he could go to church regularly and freely. Church was a festive place, a place where he could join with others in joyfully singing and offering praise to God. But you notice that he says, I used to go to church. There is something about attending church that can be like water to your soul. It is a time set aside to worship God in the company of like-minded people. It is not something that you can explain, but going to church helps to soothe your soul and gives you spiritual energy to deal with life's challenge. The writer is longing after God and misses going to church for his soul to be watered. Later on he says, my soul is downcast within me, therefore I will remember you. What is the point he's making here? To be downcast is to find yourself in an unhappy state. Maybe things are not going well, or you feel abandoned. It is in this place of despair and pain that the writer talks about remembering God. That is interesting. Some believers will find themselves in a place where they hardly have time for God. Some people can hardly afford the time to read a portion of Scripture and to pray daily. Before long, it appears you no longer have a relationship with God. When was the last time you prayed and read a Bible passage? Have you forgotten God? The truth is that things can get so good with you that you gradually spend less and less time with God until things come crashing down and you suddenly realize that you don't remember God. Admit it to yourself. You have forgot God. And then a light bulb goes off in your mind and you suddenly realize that you really need God, that you have neglected your special relationship with God. All of that gradually fades away because you had forgot God. A third instance sees the writer talking about being oppressed by the enemy. The enemy here is Satan, and it is as if Satan realizes that things are not going good with you and he comes to tease you. That is when he whispers such lies that God doesn't love you. That's when he harasses you with the idea that if God really cared for you, then there is no way God would not rush to take care of his child. It is in those moments the enemy talks to you and encourages you to turn away from God, because this God thing is not working out for you. Remember, the writer is longing after God like the thirsty deer who needs some water. In his time of mourning, or time when he has forgot God, the writer says, "My soul longs after God." The writer says, when those times come, when I feel desperate for God, I will talk to myself. He will tell his inner self that he should renew hope and confidence in God. The deer has hope that the farmer would set water out in the yard for him. The deer in the woods has a hope that he will come across water. God will provide the water for your desperate soul. God will show up in the nick of time and change things around for you. You might be saying, "I'm desperate for you, God." And God hears your desperation, and he shows up with just what you need to keep you going. My friend, especially when you're down and out and you feel desperate for God, trust in him. When you get desperate, go after God.